All right. All four. We can. All right. Hey, there's enough people here. We could like go, partial way on a 5-5-5 deal at Domino's. Yeah. Anyway. But yes. Let us introduce ourselves.
I'm getting. Well, actually, no. This is on.
Is this on?
It doesn't sound like it's on. It's on.
Yeah. You see if that works? That one works.
Scooting over.
We have this big space between us.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Gary. Just, nobody really important. I mean, you've seen me walking around every now and then as an on, just participating in as much of the con as I could. Drive up the hype for it because, well, it's just a fun con and it's local. Have a good time.
Yeah, move the mic up slightly. There you go.
How's that?
Yeah.
All right.
Of course it won't stay. There we go.
All right, but otherwise, I'm just a big old fan of Fallout Equestria, and I wanted to get a couple printed copies. I got a little bit minifigure right there as well. It's a vinyl that was custom made here, and I purchased it after he started making it. But I've mostly followed just the original story, which most of you probably don't know anything about. So
it's the only fic on Equestria Daily to have the legendary tag, by the way.
Yeah.
The only other fic besides... Yeah, I'm going to leave that out. There's only one other fic to have its own unique tag, and that is Cupcakes, and that one says, "Don't read."
Yeah. You all know what that's about.
Yeah. So I think having legendary is a lot better than, avoid.
6 stars.
Yeah.
They have like the 5-star rating, and then they put Fallout Equestria up to 6, and then they just bumped it up to legendary when they realized nothing could really compete.
Yeah. So,
I don't know, it is kind of like an acquired taste, though.
I'm Dan, Pally Dan on FemFiction. I write the side fic, Fallout Equestria, A Guardian's Tale. It's been featured at the top of the Fallout Equestria compilation because on Equestria Daily there are so many Fallout Equestria side fics.
Not just Equestria Daily,
well, yeah, FemFiction as well.
The Fallout resource site.
Well, yeah, there's their own resource site to compile everything, run by Arcane Scroll. But instead of allowing fanfiction writers to submit Fallout Equestria fics like everybody else does, everything is accepted and put into a giant mega post that once a month, that shows what's updated and what is not, and features one fic that Arcane Scroll or whoever is putting together the compilation at the time puts to the top of the...
It's usually something that shines above the rest, like his, for example. His has been featured a couple of times.
Well, and also the art is really good, because I got Serena Midori, who, I don't know if you know who she is, but she's a fan artist who was one of the featured artists at Fiesta Equestria, and she's best known for being the voice of Canny, the Galacon mascot, and she's the artist for my fic. She did the art design for my characters and such. I commissioned her, of course, but I had that. I've been mentioned by another large side fiction, Fallout Equestria Starlight. He gave his recommendation to me, and we even worked together to make one of his secretive villains into an original monster that I created. So the Brahmantar. For those of you who don't know, Fallout Equestria is an alternate timeline where a war with Zebra, the Zebra Empire, happens.
I think you can tie it into very similar to how Fallout 3 introduced its characters.
Yes.
There was a war between resources, and then afterwards it turned into a big religious sort of war.
Yeah, nuclear war essentially. But the Zebra
would be the representative of the Chinese in Fallout 3, and all the magical guns and atomic warheads and whatnot are all converted in balefire bombs, which is like a big magic fire bomb that does exactly what...
Yeah, so a nuke is actually, they took dragon fire, necrotically put it into a dragon egg, and then supercharged it to the point where it can destroy an entire city.
I blame Fluttershy for that.
And essentially leave magical radiation. The story takes place 200 years later and follows this little girl, Little Pip. She's the smallest pony in her stable, or one of them, and
I mean, as a full-grown,
mare, she's about a little bit bigger than a filly.
She's not very big.
Yeah, but and she also has no magical talent.
She has levitation.
She has telekinesis. That's pretty much it. But she somehow saves the entire wasteland with just telekinesis. Of course.
And a million guns.
And a million guns. A million guns.
Which I guess is kind of weird because this is My Little Pony mixed with the most grim and dark and depressing thing you could have ever done with it.
Yes.
And it just works
Put
so
it
well.
with a war and then a post-apocalyptic wasteland. However, the thing is, the one reason why it is so popular, even though it goes so dark, is A, it's very well written to the point where Tabitha St. Germain has a physical copy of
she
all
has
the books.
a hardcover copy,
The hardcover
which doesn't
copies.
have these images on it. I had printed up my own paperback copies for maybe like $50.
And in an interview / panel at Comic Palooza this year, she did say that it was too dark for her, but she really loved the writing style. She thought that the writer was really talented. So I think that she's always
it to, her neighbor's kid.
Yeah, she gave it to her neighbor's kid who loved it. So
he loved every bit of it.
well, no, it was like her neighbor's kid's a teenager. Yeah. Her neighbors,
I
believe the neighbor is also who she based the original voice of Derpy on. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure
I don't think so.
Because I remember she said she based it off her neighbor's kid, who was very clumsy and awkward because he was a teenager.
That's true.
So, but anyway, we digress.
But I guess that's it for introductions about who we are. There was a third person that was supposed to be here, but he wasn't going to be able to come till 12 o'clock, and then we got bumped up on the schedule, so he's not going to be here.
Yeah.
He would be able to tell you more about the side fic universe, because obviously this has spawned a heck of a lot of more people interested in writing. Because it wouldn't have gotten this far if nobody was interested in it. It would have cut off maybe after the first book. Nobody would have spoken about it, and that would have been the end of it. But because of how much love went into it and how unexpected it was, people just started swarming to it. So now it's like its own sub-community.
There are over 360 side fics written. And I believe Arcane Scroll told me at one point a few months ago that there are currently 80 that are still constantly being updated at least once a month. Yeah. And then there's about 100 that are at least every couple months.
Yeah.
So, and the amount of art. If you go to FalloutEquestriaResource.com, hot mic.
Yeah, Arcane Scroll is very good about not mixing them up.
Oh, there's so much art. I mean, if you look at the Draw Friend,
on Equestria
at least
Daily.
on Equestria Daily, every other day there's at least one or two for Fallout Equestria stuff. And then everyone also knows that there's a side fic called Fallout Equestria Project Horizon.
Which is about twice as big as this.
Twice as
I've only read half of it.
It's over 1 million words now. And it still has about 15 chapters to go, according to Somber, from last I talked to him.
Yeah, I've only read about half of that, and that was when this was finishing up on the final book.
Yeah. It's... A lot of people consider it canon. It isn't. He does try to keep
I think
canon.
K-Cat said that it was alright for it to be considered canon.
It was all right for people to, but K-Cat considers all side fics alternate realities. So they're still, which is what I put into my fic, because I have a lot of time travel stuff. So I threw some stuff that there's a bunch of different alternate timelines, all with the one common thing being Little Pip. And then there's also other alternate timelines where Twilight Sparkle, instead of becoming the ministry mayor of the Ministry of Arcane Sciences, became a princess. So
right.
Little reference back to the show.
I liked it because this was mostly done by the end of season 1. By the end of the first summer.
Yeah,
season 1, and so much of it had already coincided with the first season.
Yeah.
That when season 2 came out, I was worried that a lot of stuff was, going to get discredited or not fit in right.
The amazing thing is, it still fits in until the last episode of season 3.
The whole thing works perfectly fine. Like, even they had this big spell bypass thing, which, like, let's say an atomic bomb went off and everything was destroyed. A spell bypass would allow certain things to be immune to the bomb itself.
Yeah.
Which was kind of what they did at the end of season 2 with the big shield around Canterlot.
The train could pass through the shield, which
the big shield around Canterlot was a thing that ended up causing a lot of problems.
In the story, in order to protect Canterlot, Celestia and Luna create a giant pink shield around Canterlot to protect it, of course,
from the Balefire bombs.
To protect it from the bombs.
And then somebody from the
season
inside.
2, which the thing is, it's not late. Some people have said, "Oh, they must have read Fallout Equestria and done that." The thing is, she wrote this. K-Cat wrote this at the end of season 1 and finished a month and a half after season 2 started. And if you know animation, that was already done by the time, the animation's done already, and they're in post-production by the time all that came to be. But it's still pretty cool that this fic, if you disregard the ending of season 3, would work. And even some of the stuff that...
There were a lot of other coincidences like that as well. Really?
Did you use that mic?
That mic's not
It's
working.
not on.
We turned it on, that one's not working.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why I moved over here.
Oh, now it is. There you go.
We're turning it on. Got it.
Yeah.
There you go. It's a little more cozy around here.
Yes, and yeah, it's just astounding that K-Cat wrote something so fast and it's so well written. Although I will say, what's funny is since she finished, people have been wanting a sequel.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
She's said she's not gonna write a sequel. Right? Actually, the cool thing is she is working with UC and Alusia and a few other people to write a Fallout Equestria tabletop game, a D&D kind of game, which I am currently a playtester for. I play it with Somber, the author of Project Horizons, as my GM.
Oh wow, that must have been pretty dark.
Yeah. My character currently had her head half blown off. And then had to be turned into a cyber pony.
Yeah, I was expecting that to happen.
Yeah, in order to survive. Although now I have a cyber like a digital pony icon that's alive and can only talk to me through charades. So that's always fun.
That's all right. That's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of weird stuff that happened in here, like the cannibal village and whatnot, but. That probably
that's
takes the
referencing
cake.
Fallout 3. So.
Yeah, I can't remember what city that was though.
What's also it's Arbu.
No, that was the vampires.
Oh.
That was the family.
Yeah, and it's kind of referencing that because there's cannibals.
Yeah,
but yeah. Anyway,
whatever.
But
I don't know.
I keep getting sidetracked. But the great thing about Fallout Equestria is even with the violence, which isn't that extreme at most parts. There are some extreme parts. There are some, but it
gets pretty up there.
It keeps to some of the morals of the show too. That friendship can help you through even the hardest times. That
actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is a lot like Batman, where it's not her physical abilities that are being tested. It's more like her sense of duty and morality and stuff like that. You know, where she was a slave for that one part, and then she had to suffer through so much more than she's already done, with nothing, no friends, no clothes even.
All she had was the pip buck attached to her arm,
and the pile of dirty hay to lay on.
And the pile of dirty hay. Although she did get the Balefire Phoenix to help her out for a little bit.
That's true. I forgot.
But that was minor.
Yeah.
And the thing is that she's also not a Mary Sue because she loses.
Oh yeah, she loses. She doesn't win.
She loses quite a bit and almost dies numerous times.
Yeah.
So, I did actually interview and ask a few quick questions of K-Cat and Somber for this.
Oh yeah, that's
panel.
right. Well, what questions did you ask them, and what they answer with?
Well, let me quickly pull it up on my phone because there's no Wi-Fi here, so I'm using completely 3G.
All right, well, while we wait for that, is there any questions that anybody here would like to ask? Well, yes.
When the
they
shield
did.
broke.
Well, no, he was asking about the pink fog. After they realized that the bombs had stopped, but the pink cloud had been released inside, they had to hold it there so that it didn't spread out through the rest of Equestria.
Although it still did when, yeah.
And that didn't end well for the princesses.
Yes.
Well, didn't end well for one of them.
Spoilers.
Right.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Maybe like
How often?
once a week.
Well, Somber has been pushing them out really fast recently. I know 64 was a lot of work for Somber, so that one took about 2 months, and there was some stuff going on in Somber's life that kind of delayed it. However, in the past month and a half, Somber's cranked out 5 chapters in 1 month, which makes me feel really bad seeing as how this was made in 6 months, and Somber just did that, and I usually go about every 3 to 5 weeks a new chapter. So I'm like, I'm feeling lazy now.
Well, I mean, the thing about this is like a lot of it is based off of Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and then later on the other Fallout games.
Yes.
But, so they had something to start with and go on from there. Even though everything was a little twisted and different.
And ponies.
And some of the missions were already done by other people in the Wasteland, which was
Yeah, that was.
I did like.
I love that.
It's like,
If you ever played Fallout 3,
it's like some of the side quests were done by other ponies in the Wasteland,
and
which
you just get
in return
reference to it.
allows for more side fics.
Yeah.
It allows for it like My Little Pony allows for a lot of I guess self-insertion is a terrible way to put it, but that's really what it is. I mean, you can add more to it. You can just do so much with it because there's already so much there, but not everything's been touched or completed with. Like
Trottingham was mentioned very, very, like in one line in the entire fic. And very,
so
and
there's
then,
nothing about it. So
yeah,
some people
so-
are like, I want to know what it's like, so I'm gonna write it down and make it.
yeah, so I set mine in post-apocalyptic Trottingham, which I modeled after London. And so, there's Trottingham Palace, Big Buck, the town of Gigaton, which I took from Megaton, is run by a Sheriff Iron Will. He is still alive in my fic because he has been mutated into what is known as a Brahmantar. If you know Fallout, a Brahmin is a 2-headed cow. He has 2 heads and 4 arms, and his second head is a proper Britishman. So, of course...
Does he have a monocle?
Yes. And Iron Will has a sheriff's star on his tie. So, as you can see, I've done some things that... There's some very interesting exchanges, and of course the other big thing is the nobility and royalty in London. I took also there, and there are factions fighting for control of Trottingham. There are the Trottingham Steel Rangers, and the Royal Flush Raiders, who are run by 5 lieutenants: Ace, King, Queen, Jack, and 10.
Wait. Raiders have a hierarchy?
Yes.
Since when?
Since King.
Okay, fair enough. But
And seeing as how King controls Jack, who is a ghoul dragon,
I'm sorry.
I think that allows you to have an undead dragon that can regenerate when around radiation.
Could be
So
worse. Could be a mouse.
he's a teenage-sized dragon, but you can see how that would be a problem and get people in line.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there is the Queen's Court, where a mysterious Queen Cadence has taken over the palace, and she looks very similar to Princess Cadence, but is a unicorn who also highly values nobility and keeps slaves. So, little hooks. And of course, the main character in my fic is Arya, who was born when the show started. She was born on the 1000th day of the longest year. However, and she always idolized Princess Luna. So she worked when the war started, she worked to become a lunar guard. And on her first day after graduating the academy, she stops a zebra plot that causes her to be blown up by a miniature balefire bomb. But instead of dying, she gets thrown 200 years into the future.
Hang on, that might be a spoiler. We should.
It's in the first chapter.
We should get back to this.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I know you're very proud of your work
I'm
and
sorry.
whatnot, but
I'm sorry.
there's other stuff to get to.
Yes, I have the questions now. So if you would,
let us know what you asked.
yes. Well, these first three questions are I asked KCAT,
The author of
the author of the original. What inspired you to write Fallout Equestria? KCAT responded, well, first off, I have a strong love of both Fallout and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. The inception of the idea was actually a piece of art by Dan Strive called Pony Vegas. It's a picture of Applejack fighting a raider with the theme being Fallout New Vegas.
Oh yeah, I recognize that. I recognize his name. He does his own webcomic actually.
Yep.
What's it called? Shot, I think.
It was a wonderful piece that combined my two loves of Friendship is Magic and Fallout, but at the time it didn't make sense within the context of the show. But I still wanted to, something drove me, and it prompted me to figure out how I could make the combination work, both chronologically and thematically. I wanted to share Friendship is Magic with my friends in the Fallout online community, and thought that such a story would be a perfect vehicle to do that. And a large part of my initial motivation was to see if I really could do it right. So a little bit of...
Do it right or do it justice.
Yeah. I lost my place now, I looked up. However, the reason I actually started writing the story was to share My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and share Fallout with the My Little Pony herd. So instead, I decided to write... but I knew that, hey, check this out. This girls' cartoon approach would be doomed from the start. Or, hey, check this really violent game out. Wouldn't work, it might not work for the bronies. So I decided to write a story instead. I then asked, now that Fallout Equestria is finished, if she ever reads any of the side fics, and she responded that, I try. I'm a very slow reader, so all I've read is Pink Eyes. Pink Eyes is one of the only two large fics that have been completed. As by large, I mean over 250,000 words that have actually been fully completed. The other one being Falling Snow's Guise of Chaos.
I haven't read either of those. I heard a lot about Pink Eyes. Pink Eyes is up there with the regular and Project Horizons.
And Heroes. Heroes is another one that people really... They call it the big... and then Murky Number 7 is the other one that they make the big 5 fix.
Oh, I guess we got more now. I mean,
no,
before it was
keeps
just
the
the 3. And I know we at the
and then
Fallout Print Project, we're just working on the 3.
Yeah, and then a lot of people want to expand it to 7 to throw in Starlight, and I always forget the last one. But yeah, there's some really big ones in the community. However, most of her free time now is dedicated to creating the Fallout Equestria pen and paper game because she loves RPGs and tabletop RPGs.
That's good. I like them too, so I would love to.
Her name actually comes from one of her characters. One of her characters was named KCAT. KCAT Man.
Yeah.
That was it, KCAT Man, and then it just became KCAT later.
Yeah. I know she's done a lot of other writings before this, but I don't think anybody really know about
No.
it. I don't know why though.
And then finally I asked her, what would you say was the main theme, lessons, and ideas you try to convey in Fallout Equestria? She responded, there are several morals present in the story, but two that stand above the rest for me is the first being stated outright in a chapter name. There's a quote, silence, then Watcher spoke. Have you ever heard the old saying, the portal to hell is open with the incantation of good intentions? If there was ever a moral to this story, I guess that would be it.
While I do accept that as her answer, I still think that the quote Red Eye was
going to
much
say
better.
there's more to it. There's a second
okay.
one. The other would have to come from the character Life Bloom near the end. The quote is, "We have to do better." She wanted to convey that she was speaking to people as a whole. We have to do better. We have to do what the show wants.
Yeah, we can't just go around judging people based on who they are. We have to be better. We have to know what we're doing wrong ourselves. We have to fix that. We have to go help others fix what they can.
And then the second part of the moral, I believe, is strongly connected to the lessons of the show My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, and echoes back to why so many of us love the show. The morals of friendship are largely about being better towards each other.
Right. As opposed to just doing everything necessary to get it all done. Like
Which
with,
is
with
the
Red Eye.
villain Red Eye.
He had said something along the lines of, what was it? If, in order to save the world, I must become the villain of the piece, then so be it. So he made himself into the villain, knowing that it would be the only way to save and help rebuild the world. Which means that he's taken a lot of slaves to help rebuild cities. And, well, that doesn't take too kindly with our heroine here.
Yeah.
I think Project Horizons had a bit of a different moral to go with.
Yeah, Project Horizons, a really cool thing that, with Project Horizons is, while the original Fallout Equestria really focused on a balance between technology and magic, there's a lot more of a technology slant, because it's based in Hoofington, which in Project Horizons is a technological city. It's the city that the Zebras destroyed and they rebuilt it better and more technologically advanced. It's where all the technological advancements were made.
Mm-hmm. So it's like building again from the ground up, all the new stuff.
So it's
So
to the point where
cyber ponies.
yeah, to the point where a small thing, because in Vault 1 or Stable 101, they worked on, it was 101 where cyber ponies were built.
101 was
but there were the prototype was apparently developed in Hoofington, which becomes a major part of it too.
And that's what was his name? Deus?
Dave's ended up being a cyber pony, which was one of the villains.
Which was kind of sad because of his backstory. He's running around screaming
words that can't be repeated.
But that's also true.
That's what happens when you become a robot that's constantly in pain and living for 200 years.
Yeah. Also, these are obviously not very child-oriented stories. They are
much more mature.
They're graphic. They're gory.
Yeah, I was saying if Fallout Equestria was gory, Project Horizon sometimes borders on cupcakes level gore.
It really does, doesn't it?
There's a whole chapter where at a certain point they entered you can either say fade to black and turn to page such and such, or you can read the next 5 pages. You have been warned.
Yeah, it was,
yeah.
That was the thing.
That was the thing. So,
I don't know, I want to talk a little more about Project Horizons, actually.
Yes, well, I actually have Somber's. I asked approximately the same question of Somber. What inspired you to write Fallout Equestria? Besides, Fallout Equestria.
Yeah, obviously itself, wanting to do your own spin on it.
And he said, I can't really say it's anything else. Fallout Equestria was so good. Just K-Cat's writing, I liked the characters, and I've always liked creating characters and stories. I didn't really want to write before it, though. But while reading it, I had a fanfic idea. And originally, Blackjack was supposed to be Little Pip. It was originally supposed to take place after the ending. Between the ending and the epilogue was when he originally was going to have it happen.
As a reminder, Little Pip was the main character of Fallout Equestria, and Blackjack is
the main character of Project Horizon.
He's a white pony with red and black hair, and Blackjack has a cutie mark. So,
and however, as I started thinking more about it and putting it to paper, I decided to make my own story. Believe it or not, Rampage, who is a crazy half zebra, half pony mare.
Actually, I think she's just a zebra.
Kind of, but if we dove into it more, it would be really big spoilers.
I don't know how we can do it. could say it's a zebra that's basically Wolverine,
Yes.
with all the regenerating and all of the berserk.
Yeah. Rampage actually existed so that that little Pip and her crew would end up meeting her. But,
Yeah, that we know how that went down.
yeah.
Kit Kat not reading any side stories until she was done.
However, when I got readers on my own, it really became a story for them, especially considering how much they have given me over the years, over the past 2 years of writing this. Yes, he started writing Project Horizons before Fallout Equestria finished. It was actually still had about 10 more chapters left.
Actually, I think that's where a lot of people started writing their Fallout Equestria fixes.
Yeah.
Right before it ended. It was
Yeah.
somewhere, I don't know, maybe chapter 37.
Yeah. Do you ever read any other FOE side fics? No, and I really, really want to. I'm almost done with Pink Eyes, and I want to start Murphy #7, but I want to finish Project Horizons first. The reason is much the same as K-Cat. When she gave an interview to Equestria Daily, while she was still writing it, she said, I don't read the side fics because I don't want to get influenced. I don't want their stuff leaking into mine.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah. However, let's see. I don't want to steal stuff. I'll occasionally give shout-outs to other stories at the end, but I don't want to poach ideas. I've accidentally almost stepped on Hidden Fortune's hooves a few times. Hidden Fortune is the writer of Fallout Equestria Treasure Hunt, and very active on the IRC, and occasional pre-reader for the fic.
That's right.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. She's okay. Let's see. What would you say the main theme, lesson, or ideas that you tried to convey in Fallout Equestria Project Horizons? I asked them essentially the same 3 questions.
Right.
And then, of course, Somber said, "Oh, not this question."
Dreaded question.
I'll answer it. I feel like a pompous ass whenever somebody asks it because it makes you feel overimportant, at least to Somber. Yeah, like, well, this is what I wanted to get across. If you didn't think of it, well.
It's like an artist trying to explain their own piece to a connoisseur.
Yes. However, I will answer it. I suppose overall, it's a question about what it really takes to save the world. Blackjack is a messianic archetype, but she's also a deconstruction. Saving the world is harder than simply dying for it. She'd be happy to do it, eager to do it actually, if her death could save thousands of ponies. However, that, as we saw with the war, that didn't happen.
She's a little suicidal.
Yeah, a little bit. Although if you think about it, wouldn't anybody be in that situation?
Well, anybody here.
Yeah.
And in this world, no,
yeah.
they wouldn't. That's just it.
Lots of themes branch out, like who am I, and more powerful. Yeah. Who am I, and what does it mean to be a pony, and what does it mean to have power? Blackjack gets more and more powerful, but power does not translate into salvation in and of itself. All she can do is provide an opportunity. There's probably lots of the other themes too, but those are the ones that come to mind. So.
Well, is there any other questions that we need to answer? Anybody? Nobody's interested in it? Nobody cares at all?
Bueller.
We're just kind of sitting here talking to ourselves now. So, hey, how you doing?
How cute is this pony, by the way?
She's adorable.
Yes, she's adorable. You wouldn't believe she carries a Magnum revolver called Little Macintosh.
I don't know where she does that.
Yeah. Well, not this one, but yeah.
The revolver is
Awesome.
it's a thing.
Yes.
For everything that it is, silent is not one of them.
No. Because if you ever think about Big Macintosh,
It's basically that in handheld form.
yes.
That goes at
Boom.
speed of sound.
Yes.
Wrecks everything.
Yeah,
Punches
they-
right through what? Punches right through Brotherhood of Steel, remember?
Yeah, Steel Ranger armor. Yeah, Steel Ranger.
Mixed up again, dang it.
The Steel Rangers are based off the Brotherhood of Steel from Fallout. They're actually more towards the Brotherhood of Steel from 1, 2, and New Vegas.
Mhm.
However, there are a few good ones out there.
Yeah, whereas in Fallout 3, the Brotherhood of Steel were your allies, and the Brotherhood of Steel outcasts were your enemies. It's more of a swap from that. Whereas the allies or the outcasts. In the end, they all end up working together anyway.
Common enemy kind of has that happen, you know. But yeah, the guys who most people would recognize them from Fallout 3 as your allies are like in the first game. All they care about is making sure nobody has technology except them.
Yeah, they were not big on outsiders.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you could join.
You
Fallout
can
1 anyway.
join, but
There's a lot of stuff involved.
a lot of gray area. No, but yes. Yes, they're animating it. Yeah. And yeah, well, they're doing a mod of two.
No. They were doing a mod. Yeah, they were doing a mod, and then they stopped that. They said there's not enough on this old rickety system for us to work with, so we're just going to start it from scratch.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I keep up with that, so that's the thing that is true. I don't know. I'm really excited about it. I love Fallout 3, so I would love to play it.
Yeah.
8 times over.
I'd like to see though if they go for the shooter aspect or the top down like 1 and 2. So.
I think they're going to go for the shooter one.
Yeah, could you speak up? We can't hear you. Okay.
Oh, okay, that's nice. Because I mean, that way you can still focus more on the role-playing aspect.
And also, they could probably if they wanted rules, they could probably integrate the actual tabletop game into it. So, which I absolutely love because it's essentially Fallout, but throw in some magic.
It was originally called the Fallout 3 Total Conversion Mod, and then they changed their name to something. And I think they're now Equestrian Softworks, and that's when I found out that they were going to use an entire.
Oh yeah, I remember now because they had open casting for
the
voice
actors,
actors.
which I wanted to get in on, but I've not ever.
Yeah.
Is there anything else anybody would like to ask or add to the conversation of us just sitting up here talking to ourselves? All right, cool.
Woo! Balefire wave. Sorry, you're all dead.
Well, I guess I can talk about the printing itself.
Hey.
Hey,
Little pop there.
But anyway, the print project, which I was not technically part of, but I was there for the whole thing anyway, was there's a man, what's his name? Alexander Petzin, I think. And his screen name was Mez Tabs.
Yeah.
But he wanted to make a Fallout Equestria printed book, but he couldn't find anywhere to do it for, any reasonable amount of price or not making 100 of the damn things. So what he ended up doing was he posted it online, and then he ended up talking about it with other people on Equestria Daily. Very few people even noticed it, though. It kind of slipped under the radar. I was fortunate enough to find it early on, so I was able to get my copy. But before that, there was just so much involved in it. There was there's chapter art for every single chapter in here, all hand drawn by fans themselves. There's all sorts of format differences between the actual story online and fan fiction now.
Yeah, KCAT spent the last month putting up 1 chapter a day, month and a half, over the summer, and it immediately became one of the top read things on film fiction for about a week and a half.
That just shows how much people love it.
I think it's at already at like 300,000 views.
I don't check that on film fiction. I'm like, I have read it. I have a physical copy.
Yeah, so but that's new people reading it. Yeah,
that's true. Or old people returning to it.
Yeah.
But I was gonna look it up. It is kind of fluffing the numbers there. But the hardcover copies, they went for about $80 and a year's worth of production time. And they all look nice, they last long, and they're hardcover copies of a book that are wonderful to read. These I have are the paperback. I paid maybe $50, $60 for it. I went to a website, I gave them all the files I needed, and they printed it up, and I got it in 2 weeks. They're not going to last as long if I read them, but you know, it's still nice to have while I wait till next summer when they start doing another round. They were going to have it nice and ready this year, but PayPal fell through and said, hang on, you can't be selling 800 sets of 5 books to people without, you know, giving them the goods and then you get the money. Thing is, we needed the money in order to make it and send it out. So that's going to cause some problems. But we got around it once, we can do it again. I don't know how we're going to do it 800 sets, but you know how that goes. Is there anybody here who's actually interested in getting one? Alright, cool. If you are interested in getting one, I have a little sign on the Traveling Pony Museum. It says to go check out this website, and then you just go there and you sign up, and that's really all you need to it. They'll update every now and then and let you know what's going on with it. There's a Facebook page which is infinitely more active, but I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. I think it was a Fallout print project or something. They shut it down, but everybody kept going anyway, so they just left it up. I don't know, why don't you have one? You're disappointed you don't have one. I'm disappointed you don't have a set. You don't have
I don't have the money for it. Unless you buy the shirts.
Fair enough. I mean, if you buy the shirts, then you can have it.
Yeah.
But other than that,
No, because I got them on my Kindle Fire. So.
how do you have them on Kindle?
Because Volrath XP, the writer of Fallout Equestria Starshine, has converted them to the
How much
format.
does it cost?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
They're up on a lot of the fics have been converted to EPUB and Kindle format by Volrath and have been put up on the Fallout Equestria resource site.
Oh, and that does remind me, there is an audio recording of it.
Yeah,
That is actually.
one that's
How long
complete.
was that again?
68 hours.
Yeah. That was an ordeal.
And he's now started on Project Horizon.
Yeah, okay, game over, everybody. We can
Yeah.
go home. It is. I think he's got them all posted on YouTube, though.
So yeah, they're all posted on YouTube, and you can download them chapter by chapter.
I do prefer the voice of the second one, even if he's not done.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just works.
Fraser.
We got a good story. Yeah, yeah. But, you know, it takes a lot of time and commitment to do that. Whereas me, all I did was, you know, help make books for 2 years.
I say that. Film Fiction's word count, Fallout Equestria, is 620,000 words.
I think most of it is in one chapter.
No. Why is it not giving me the view count?
No.
For some reason, it's not giving me the view count. I would have told you all how many views it's already gotten on Film Fiction. After,
It might be because you're on mobile or something.
posted. It was posted. The first one was posted on Film Fiction July 22nd, and I can already tell you it has 2,662 likes.
6,000? That's it?
No, 2,662.
2,000? That's it?
Well, yeah, because a lot of people have already read it before you.
Fair enough. They've
Yeah,
already read it. They don't need to go
lots.
see it again. Yeah. It's one of those things.
And surprisingly enough, only 151 dislikes, because there's actually a group on Film Fiction that is actively, every time a Fallout Equestria fic updates, they go to hit the dislike button. Just because they don't like that it's that Fallout Equestria is popular. So anytime anything with Fallout Equestria in it updates, they swarm it to hit dislikes.
What a bunch of haters.
Yeah.
Seriously.
No, I mean there's an actual group on there that's their main goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck, man?
Yeah, I mean I have 9 dislikes, and I can tell you 8 of them happened the second a chapter updated. I got at 1 of them. And the thing is, they also create more accounts to hit dislikes, and usually those fake accounts get banned. So
I think they just get bored on like. They probably are all sitting on 4chan and they're like, I hate those ponies.
yeah,
Today I'm hating on Fallout Equestria.
it's probably some of the people who hate on Mando. So
Yeah.
same overlap of just no life.
They probably live like super.
Yes.
Yes, I kept up with the animated comic
I
quite
think
a
it
lot.
stopped at chapter 4.
Three. This sounded like maybe halfway through 3, they had just stopped. I never found out why, but I did know that they were also working on a more of an MMO, Terraria style,
Yeah.
My Little Pony thing.
There's also a comic that's being made. So if you
yeah,
want to go
yeah.
comic form, it's pretty decent actually.
There's a hand-drawn comic one which is being done now. The artist isn't the best, but you know, with all of this to work with, he's obviously going to get better. I don't know, he swaps back and forth between color and pencil shading.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think he just updated one that's back to pencil again. I don't know, I support him, he's fine with me. Like, I like reading webcomics, so it saves a lot of reading too when you're just looking at pictures. Not everything is just detailed out. How to cut out a lot of this. But I mean, you know, it's the writing style that was part of the interest.
And also, if you do go to read Fallout Equestria, just remember, Little Pip is never actually described.
That's true.
A fan artist drew this.
Drew one.
One of her, and people
everyone was
loved
like,
it so much that
perfect.
became what she looked like. K-Cat did not describe Little Pip at all.
She did that on purpose,
On
right?
purpose, because she wanted to be it like you can build your own character like in Fallout 3.
Yeah. Like in the Fallout series, you can create your character, so that's why she left it blank. The only set in stone thing is that A, it's a unicorn, and B, she's short.
Yes.
And it's that. Also, you have no magic.
Except telekinesis, which then she...
I don't know, she does kind of beef that up.
No, she does beef that up like crazy. I have seen her character sheet in the
Castle.
pen and paper game. She has every rank of what's the name of that? There's a One Trick Pony.
Oh, yeah.
One Trick Pony gives it so that that she only gets one spell. However, she can take power. She can keep taking ranks of ability that lets her increase the strength of that one spell. To the point where she tosses around train cars and
That was nice.
eventually learns self-levitation to the point of almost flying.
No, I'm pretty sure she could fly for about, I don't know, maybe like 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, then she almost has a brain aneurysm. So
That's true. She almost killed herself. That's right. But I don't know. What was her mentor could like fly around for 2 hours?
yeah,
It's like,
that guy was crazy.
It's impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
But that's under the assumption that you know self-levitation does take a lot more than levitating other ponies or other things. I'm not quite sure how that works. I think they explained it though.
Yeah, there's an explanation. I can't do it justice.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah, because K-Cat also did a lot of stuff to define the rules of magic within Fallout Equestria and kind of defined it within MLP a little bit.
She also did a lot with gems, which prior to that were nothing more than, they weren't even monetary. They were just outfit accessories.
Yeah.
And food for dragons. And now they have magical value. They're
You
used
can
for the
imbue
energy
them
weapons.
with, yes, by imbuing magic into crystals, you can make laser guns.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Which is why the zebra wanted them so bad.
Yeah, because the zebras had coal and the ponies had gems.
And then
And
trade
then
war.
Trade war, and then religious war, and then bombs.
Because zebra don't like Luna.
Yep, they all think Luna was terrible.
They all think Luna's the devil, which I remember.
Because on the longest night of the year, which case Celestia, well that was
Yeah, well, if you think about it, if the
In the-
sun is down
well,
on
no,
one
it's
side
like
of the
a-
world, or forever,
Yeah.
where is it on the other?
Yeah, it's like
So,
Because
eternal
we're-
night, if you go to the other side of the world where the zebra are,
no.
eternal. Yeah.
No, it wasn't the opposite side of the world. They weren't that far away. That's why they could use trains to get back and forth. They were far enough away where they didn't know about Luna.
No, the coal shipped on shipments
Yeah.
from the harbor. Remember, because
No, you're mixing it up with Project Horizons. or something.
it's in there because if you remember, also one of the trade ships got captured by pirates, which is when the Wonderbolts were then.
Pirates, Wonderbolts.
Yeah,
I don't remember Wonderbolts even being mentioned much in this.
yeah, they're mentioned in there.
Pirates. I didn't read this yet.
Yes.
Apparently, it's been too long. minor argument.
That was one of
anyway,
the things that started the war.
that I lost. I lost that argument.
Anyway, I think that's our time. So I believe Solrak is next.
Really, we actually filled up most of the time slot.
We have 4 minutes.
Wow, we actually did. That's amazing. Anybody else have any last minute questions? I know probably not, but you know.
It's the biggest and most popular side fic. Fallout Equestria has spawned almost 400 fics off of it, and is also 16 languages it's been translated into. And
I only know about
there-
3: Russian, Italian, French. That was it.
There's
That's all I saw.
also there's also Dutch. I believe an Arabic translation is going on right now.
I think there's a Dutch reading that's been started.
Yeah, there's a Dutch reading also. So there's a lot of European languages that's being translated, and Chinese and Korean. I just remember that too. So yes. This is almost 700,000 by itself. Or no, 600,000 by itself. Project Horizons is at 1.2 million and still going.
That's one story. 1.2 million.
Murky number 7 is
I have been meaning to check out.
500,000, I think. That one. Pink Eyes is complete at 250.
Yeah, that is the shortest one.
That's
and
the shortest complete.
If anything, I do recommend that you read that one. If you're not going to read this because of its size, at least read that one. You know, that way you get a hint and an introduction to the setting
And
itself.
Mimi Singh is also a really cool person. So
Yeah.
I've talked with Mimi. So, and then of course there's Heroes, which I believe is 600,000, maybe 700.
Yeah, I remember Heroes was pretty long.
Yeah.
Like, I remember
And
it's
that's still
been
going
on
too. That's still going too. And then there is a document, I've seen it once, that has had the current word count on FimFiction of every single one, plus Project Horizons and the original, which weren't on FimFiction, combined together, and it was in the billions of words of every side fic. So
Yeah, no, I don't have time for that.
yeah, nobody got time for that.
You're absolutely right. Well, no, somebody has to, because somebody's got to read them.
Well, no, they didn't.
Collectively, we've got time for it.
Regulate. There is a guy on FimFiction, Regulate, who has favorited and reads every single Fallout Equestria fic and chapter and comments on them.
He comments on every one?
He comments after he's read every chapter.
Did he go and reread all of Fallout Equestria when it came out on FimFiction again?
I don't know. He probably did. He's also Russian, so he's reading most of the time with a language barrier.
With a language barrier. Well, I mean, I guess, you know, it's good for him that there's a Russian one.
Yeah, but
He might be doing it for all we know.
everybody knows Regulate in the author community, because they go, oh, there's the like 2 or 3 days
There's the
after
guy.
a chapter releases. There's Regulate, because and we all know him because he has had the same icon for 2 years of Sweetie Belle laughing. Like
Well,
doing evil chuckle Sweetie Belle.
That's incredibly, I don't know, ironic because of what he's reading.
Yes.
Just so he goes sitting there laughing at the
Just
misery
no,
of
but
ponies.
it's the evil chuckle. But yes, Regulate is awesome because he reads every chapter of everything. It's amazing. I don't know how he has the time
I don't know,
to
kudos to
even
him.
sleep.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe he's one of those speed readers that could like read the entire Affordable Health Care Act in an hour. It's like,
no
but
thanks.
anyway, yes.
I remember I had started writing a fic once, and then I'm like, I don't really know where I'm going with this, and then I just sort of dropped it because what ended up happening was I accidentally killed off my main character.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, I wanted it to be like the story of a bunch of ponies centered. It's not
Around
centered
somebody.
around it. It's
Game of Thrones with ponies in Fallout Equestria.
Yeah, basically. Except the main characters were never the center focus
Okay.
of my story. I would have all of the side characters that they would meet up with and help and so on and so forth. Side missions. That would have been their point of view. Everybody watching this one set of ponies across the wasteland to see how their, I don't know, infamy grew. But I guess that's
That's our time.
Yeah, that's
So,
our time.
Thank you all very much. If you all have any questions, we'll be around the con for the rest of the con. And
Yeah, that's really it. And you check out these. They're going to be at the Traveling Pony Museum until, closing, in which case I'm bringing them home with me.
and in closing, Little Pip and K-Cat are awesome.
Buy a shirt.
Oh yes. Also buy a shirt if you want. It's mine.
It's not shameless advertising because I'm doing it for it.
Yeah.